those other regions like NA and SA and well, not South Asia, but South America rather. We're trying to really incorporate that with just mitigating the amounts of damage that ping does in that regard. But nevertheless, we are loading in. We have finally got that lobby up and ready to go. So the lineup, the roster for Leopard on the killer is Thomas, nonetheless. The survivors being Vinalis, Seven, Dob, and Rin on the side of Harden. And loading in, we do see the Blight spawning in on, I do believe this is the top region of, no, sorry, the bottom region of the map. My mistake. We are spawned all the way at 5. Now we're rotating all the way to our corrupted generators, trying to spot out any stealthy survivors. We do see some scratch marks over on the wall over at 11, but we also do some leading into main. I do think this survivor was rotating outside of main. I don't think they were rotating in, but we're going to go for the break on this door. Actually, I was joking. Vinali's with the ultimate stealth there. My God. Oh, that was so close and nail biting, if you will. Now we're going to take this first chase onto Rin, who's going to be utilizing this dumpster pallet around effectively, and it's Tom's going to get the first nice flare by Rin, able to break away from this tile, go all the way down to 5. No, that we've opted to try and loop around, and we're not quite getting that swing through the pallet on the side of Thomas. We're breaking this pallet, and now we're just having a really good chase here. No quick tag, and we just actually avoided it on the side of Harden. We're really struggling to get this first tag here on the side of Thomas, though, going for some flicks and, just the bump logic not really coming in, unfortunately. So we've opted to leave that chase and go for something a little bit more favorable. Maybe someone on a generator that's out of position. And as we do see Dobby on the ace, tried to rotate all the way down to 6, but getting caught out. And we're just really missing these early tags on the side of Thomas. Maybe a bit nervous, a bit jittery. He needs to really lock in. I think he might be able to get one soon if he plays his cards right, and he's gone for a triple vault on this window. What a madman, but this should result in a tag if he doesn't manage to accidentally miss it, and it does like clockwork. Dobby's going to be still rotating around the shack, utilizing the check spots quite effectively. Thomas playing the mind games really well, and he might be able to catch him off guard here and might be able to redeem himself for what seems like a really troublesome start, but he's still missing in the pre-drop of the shack pallet, thinking that Dobby would go for the window, but we've kind of just been lost in the sauce, and we're just going to take that tag and leave before Dobby gets to another pallet, and we can't down him. So things are looking pretty dicey here at the moment, Halo. The match has become pretty stagnant for our killer, and the survivors are progressing the game with this generator progress all the way over at 5 and the reset happening all the way over at 11.
Yeah, unfortunately, Thomas has had like quite an unlucky start. He got stealthed at main, and then he made some mechanical mistakes there, and now corrupts over, and he's pretty much got no pressure, and the survivors have also got a little bit of progress. Although we almost did just clip that David here, stealthing behind that pallet and little tile there, and I feel like Thomas now Hunter is probably going to have to play quite aggressively. I mean, it's not the best start for Thomas, but I do believe like he could definitely bring it back if he has a very quick chase here. Definitely considering that this David could possibly die in our active generators, as we are going to be going for the flick around the shack pallet. I mean, not the pallet, around the corner. And yeah, I mean, Thomas was able to finally get that down, and fortunately for him, it wasn't his gens.
Yeah, definitely, and we're just happy to really have that down before the first generator procking up. Okay, I say that and it's Caster's Curse, but we still were able to do it before the first generator, even though it was just moments of popping. But we do have some progress in the background. We see a nice little flick onto Dobby once more. He's going to be running all the way down into main, but we're not going to opt to chase Dobby. We're going to go all the way back to our hook and try to play a little bit more defensively. We really want this tunnel out on the side of Thomas, and I do agree with this play. He does have Pop Goes the Weasel, so he's able to kick. He is able to kick 5. He was waiting for his Eruption to come back as well, so Eruption is applied to 5, which is really nice in his favor at the moment. We do have both survivors just over here. The unhook in the unhook E. We have Vinales trying to make distance, and we have Cat Reflex, aka 7, trying to take a body block. So Vinales can make some of these pallets. These midfielders are absolutely getting hit through that. It's absolutely crazy. And when I told you that there wasn't ping involved, Halo, I actually meant to. I don't know how he's managed to get that through the pallet. My God.
Yeah, I personally don't know if the survivor is on ping, but that definitely makes me think that he is. But once again, I mean, Thomas did have a really, really, really bad start. But even though the survivors probably do have gen progression, that down was quick enough for him to be able to pursue that tunnel out onto the David. So that's really good for Thomas. And it does look like he will be straying away from the hook here, trying to play for his generators and tags as he kind of needs to. And yeah, I mean, the start, like I said, the start was really good, but it looks like Thomas is slowly creeping back with the pressure. Is not going to be able to get that hit, unfortunately. And oh, I don't know if I agree with that pull. Maybe it was a little bit early, but we'll see how it goes, Hunter. We have already found the David here, and he's kind of zoned himself to this pallet. Thomas is going to be messing up his bump logic just a little bit there, and is going to be going away. Although our David is still zoned here, our Jake Park is going to be here for the hit take, but we are going to be leaving for some reason, and we are going to be playing this bump logic, and a beautiful dead-ard there from David right there is going to make sure that this down wasn't as easy as the last couple. So really well played to David there, and it looks like he'll probably be able to make a decent death spot for his last chase.
Yeah, definitely. And unless he's the DS player here, I don't think anything magically will be happening at the moment. And 3, 2, 1, and it is not. So yes, this is our tunnel out at 3 generators remaining. So all things considered, Thomas is in a very good spot, but a very good death location from the David. So we do find that there's some generator progress going on in the background. We get 2 gens pops from that death. So, you know, the infamous 3v1 at 1. Yes, the infamous 3v1 at the 1 generator remaining. So, what do the survivors do here? Well, I would imagine that the 2 injured would go for some sort of reset. You know, first reset would be 99, and the next... Oh, no, never mind. No, we've gone for the full reset. So we know they're resetting at the moment. Rin probably stealthing somewhere for a generator that's not being worked. We do have Shaq 5 and mid as it stands, and yeah, it's all relatively tight for the Blight set over in the Gas Haven. I mean, any other killer, you know, especially the M1s, would probably struggle to hold that 3-gen, but I think it's completely doable with the Blight's rushes and whatnot. So nevertheless, we're going to be taking chase on Dobby here. We're going to go for a quick tag and probably go back to our generators, I do believe, unless he were really going to try and get this down. He thought about it for a split second, but he saw the pallet. There's a pallet over there in mid, at main, sorry, still, and you know, chose not to chase over there, so we've opted to go for another tag, and we're just going to get a really nice flare on the side of 7 over at this car tile, and just playing it beautifully, check spotting as well, and just greeting the pallet ever so nicely. But we've opted to go away from that on the side of Thomas. We know that's definitely not a chase that we want to be pursuing at this point in time, as there is somebody working over at 5, and it is Rin, who is our Jake player with the sprint burst and fixated in hand, who's going to be rotating all the way down to the mid side of the map. And we see Shaq being worked in the background. We're going to be taking this tag and going all the way down to 1 on the side of our Jake here. He's going to have to really last a little bit longer. They're going to go for a little bit of a double and try and press that generator. They're going to try and split up the pressure. Who knows? The locker play coming in. He's going to be able to jiggy around it, and he's going to run around this little tile, go for the window perhaps, or die into the corner. And the eruption proc, do we slug? Do we pick? And we're picking. Okay, so we're really trying to judge that there's no gen pressure, and we've 100% definitely made the correct decision in that there is no gen pressure, and we've opted to go for our proc on our pop goes the weasel. So we're going to rotate all the way down to Shaq and try to see if we can get that automatic applied as soon as possible. So we do have Eruption in hand in about a good 2 seconds from now, and we're going to be applying it onto this generator, and it's just going to be so dicey for the survivors to come back here. They really need to play this a lot more slower, and then you make sure that everybody's reset. Maybe those 2 injured survivors could go reset behind main, and then, you know, you just have to pray and hope that 7 wouldn't be found trying to stealth out for a generator or something. So it's still completely doable for the survivors, but it's going to be a very hard task and probably a tall order, I'll be completely honest with you, Halo.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like Thomas's start obviously was pretty bad, but he does have a pretty nice free gen here on the bottom side. He's got all of the survivors injured, and he does also have Eruption and Pop to be able to make this free gen a lot more easier for him. So if I was the survivors here, I would definitely probably just slow down the whole match, probably meet like behind main or something and just get a triple reset going. But it does look like Ace Visconti, I do believe I did see some blood pools near the shack, which the killer must have not seen. But Thomas will be looking around here for this injured Visconti, and it doesn't look like he'll be able to find him. It does look like, and he also is going to be going all the way to the basement, having a little glimpse. Doesn't look like anything's going to be going on there, and hopefully we're going to be setting up for our gens. But it does look like we have rushed near Ace, and we have actually heard him, and this is kind of looking kind of bad for the survivor side, if I'm being honest. As far as the Ace, I would probably you know, took in all of that time just to kind of stealth near the 5 side of the map, maybe get a reset, and make sure that everyone's resetted and you know, set up for the generators. But it does look like Thomas will be able to get another hook right here in his free gen. And
This. Oh,
yeah,
continue.
yeah, you can go.
Oh, okay. No worries. Well, I was just gonna say, mentioning over at, you know, this, like what you were saying about going over to 5. I think just being very injured in this, like, 3 generators at the moment is, like, not really the play there. He had to go back to top and try to get some sort of reset. Even if he died top, it would have been so much better. Now he's just hooked in this 3 gen, and it's just going to make it so much harder for us survivors. And we're getting this really, we're getting this early pull, which is probably what you have to do. But you have to make top side. You can't run back into this 5 generator. I'm not too sure if there's even anybody working it. It seems to be the Jake the Ace, and I'm not too sure if 7 was over here too. So we seem to be a little bit bunched up at the moment. We just have to... No, we actually are on the Shaka K. So that's actually pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Now Rin trying to run all the way down far as top as possible. Not going for the slug. We're going to go for the pickup on the side of Thomas. So we're really judging the pressure nicely here. It is a little bit risky considering how far progressed that generator over at Shaq has gone. But he knows his distance. He knows he can make the hook. He knows what everyone has progressed over in their generators, so does have pop in his hand, and he's just playing nicely around his perks. I can't lie. So, you know, applying pop where it's needed, applying eruption where it's needed, and it's really serving him. They're going for early pulls as well, which is kind of what you have to do, but you gotta make sure you last. I mean, you know, you die too close to these gens again, and it's just going to be problems, and we're just going down, and it's just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, and it's just going to go have Pop the Weasel again, and Pop's going to apply to that Shack generator. It's going to regress to nothing, but on the contrary, Thomas also has to be really careful that, you know, they don't manage to skate this unharmed, and he's running out of kicks on this generator. It's still regressing at the moment, so it's not too bad for him, but you know, I don't think there's really any other progression on any generators over on the other side of the map over at 5, and nobody's on mid, so he doesn't have any reason to use Pop Goes the Weasel or Eruption at this point, and he's just in such a power position. It's still very dicey for the survivors.
Yeah, I really like how that one survivor is playing really aggressive for that Shack generator. Although I'm not too sure what they could do in this situation. It does seem like they are just going to be opting to aggressively sit these 2 gens, what the killer is kind of proxying and forcing off of. But I think the other survivor is on 5, if I'm not wrong. They might be rotating right now. No, they're still on 5. So that's going to be some decent progress for our survivor side, especially if Thomas overcommits for this survivor here. And it does look like he will just be proxying, most likely going to be camping this to death, and definitely will have to check 5 to make sure that that doesn't pop, as they did get quite a lot of progress, maybe a little bit of a fake, making sure they're not going to save. And we will be cutting off the survivor here, and we haven't pre-ran unfortunately, so I think this is going to be quite a quick chase, although a little bit of bump logic, messing up the bump logic there is going to make sure that our Jake Park does not die in these generators. And Thomas is going to be forced going all the way back to the Shack here. If you ask me, Hunter, I mean, they're both injured. It's a really good free gen. He has Eruption, he has Pop. He knows where both of them pretty much are. I mean, it's pretty much over if you ask me. I think this is most likely going to be a 4k1. Very nice bump logic there. Is going to be able to get the survivor on the ground, and from now on, I think it might just be GG's.
They had to play slower. They've played this way too fast, pressing generators while injured and forcing the kicks with Pop Eruption. It's just not doable, unfortunately, for the side of the survivors. And as you had seen previously, just a free tag given at a window that just really didn't need to happen on the side of 7. And we're getting a little bit stuck here on the rocks, chasing Rin over at this main building here on the side of Thomas. And yeah, this is just going to spell the 4k1 at this point. So, you know, all things considered, very well played by Thomas. Definitely could have been played out a little bit better by the survivors, but unfortunately not quite meeting that condition. So it will be a 4K2 that Killer next match will need for the side of Harden to make sure that they take away this set. But keep in mind, it is Leopard's pick, so you would expect Leopard to be really well honed in on their sets. And we're getting a little bit mind gamed. I'm pretty sure oh, no, never mind. Okay, so we vaulted the window back into main on the side of our Jake here. He's having an absolutely crazy chase right now. Just going on a little bit of a run. Maybe he can run out for the 5-minute bleed timer, but no, he's going to get a little bit mind gamed there, and that'll spell his down. So yes, you know, still awesome stuff from both sides. I mean, obviously both sides have... Oh, wait, we've crawled all the way to main with tenacity from the side of 7. This is absolutely crazy. Nobody's fresh here, I don't think, right? Oh, no, 7's fresh. Okay. So if 7 bleeds out, they'll be penalized with a... Wait! I didn't see the unbreaks! Nah! Wait, hold on! It's not over. Oh, my God. Okay. Wow, that completely went past my head. I didn't. All right, hopefully somebody else in our chat would have picked up on that, because like that went completely past my head. Oh my God, that is actually really 200 IQ there. Well played by both survivors to really calm that together, and that's just going to spell our ultimate demise on our Jake here and slugging in the process. And now we're going to have to go on a little bit of a mission to find 7 once more, who's gone all the way down to 9. Not too sure what you really do here. Maybe try and stealth out around 11 and try to go for the pickup on your mate. Or Thomas actually knows they're in this vicinity, okay? And I'm pretty sure he's seen and heard. And yes, that is another down. And yeah, this should be the 4K one. There's no more tenacity, no more unbreakable. This should just be straight into the next match of the set. And yeah, so what do you do chasing a 4K2 win con? Well, it's not as bad as chasing a 4K4 or a 4K5. So there's that. It's still definitely way doable for the side of Harden. They have to just make sure... Oh, he's really scared about Delhi at the moment. I don't think that... Oh, there is the Deliverance. Okay, it's Deliverance as well. Not that it really means as much. It just kind of eliminates the Tycon if they were to ever get out of the match. And, you know, but Thomas is going to have none of it. He's going to have to play safe, and we're just going to be trying to take that first tag, but kind of whiffing in the process as there's the haste boost, getting the pick up onto Rin as well, pre-dropping the pallet and maybe playing around it too. We're going to be rushing all the way for Rin, doing a little bit of a locket jiggy in and out. My God, but there's nothing for him to work with. He's going to be going straight down. And as I said, the game was just going to go to the next match. All of a sudden, it's been pulled back, and we are once more trying to look for a way out.
I just saw some blood pools there. Cat Reflex, I believe that's their name, has stealthed away, but let's look like this should be the 4K one. I don't think there's any more perks. I think Thomas should know where they all are. This should just be the 4K one. And I'm really surprised, actually. I mean, Thomas, he literally, I'm pretty sure he got his first down like 10 seconds, 15 seconds after the corrupt ended. That's you know, as you know, Blight is a really high tier killer. I found that pretty surprising. I was not going to, you know, if you asked me then, I definitely would have not said that it. I definitely would have not said it was going to be a 4K one. I would have said it was probably going to be maybe a 6-7 stage, but it does look like
this set. So the survivor lineup will be as follows. It is no score, Thomas, Ivy, and A1Q. I want to see B1 juice up. You know, when B1 juices up, we all go crazy. Chat goes crazy, and there's always a clip of B1 just doing absolutely a madness in the corner of the map with nothing to work with. And that's what I want to see tonight. That's what I want to see. But for the side of Harden, our killer is Freya Familiar, which I'm pretty sure is just shortened to Freya. I'm fairly sure we've seen Freya play last season. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would be very interested to see how the Blight performance is here, holding up to, you know, pulling a 4K2 against a team like a Leopard. It's definitely not a very easy task, especially, you know, with the starts that they usually give on these kind of sets. And now loading in, we do see Freya all the way at the top side. We're going to be using our bumps to get all the way to the bottom side and hopefully spot some scratch marks or something of the sort that's going to lead us into the direction of the stealthing survivors. And we do go all the way down to 5. I'm not too sure if I saw a survivor over the corner of my eye. I did. Oh my god. Okay, over at 5, it is No Score who's going to be making a way very quickly. A1Q going towards more of the Shack side, but we have taken the chase onto none other than B1. Something about Ivy. There's something about this man. Can you tell he's going to be running all the way down to corner 3 using the edge map? This is what I was talking about, but a little bit of a caster's curse is going to result in an early tag, unfortunately, but we have seen him jiggy around those beforehand as well, and we're just going to be maneuvering around the rock, and that's going to be our very quick down on the side of Leopard. So not what you want if you're chasing really, you know what, in all honesty, not an easy win con, but something more favorable towards you. But definitely what you want if you're on the side of our killer here on Harden. You want those early downs, you want those quick downs. You want to make sure that they're not going to be able to get as much gen pressure as they need to kind of facilitate for that 4K0 win con. So breaking the door, they're going to be going inside of main. We're going to be going inside of main to see if there's anybody working that main generator. And there was, but we've opted to pre-leave that very nicely and stealthing accordingly. Thomas on the side of main, but I think we've kind of caught him out of position. Maybe we're getting really close right now. And Freya, all you have to do is turn right and left. You might have seen Thomas, but we have spotted A1Q working this 11 generator. I didn't really take note into that, but we are putting the eruption onto that. So the build... Oh my god, we're taking that early tag. No, and they're not going to be getting the mend effect as well. The pre-drop coming in from our ace, but we're not chasing the ace. We want the Sable. We want Ivy, okay? But we also want Ivy to juice up. So we're greeting this mid pallet. Never throw the mid pallet. Are we going to go for the window? No, we're going back for the pallet. We're going to be throwing that too. This might be really bad. The bounce is coming around. We're breaking the pallet as well. And now we're going to the inside of main. We're going to be using that pallet just in the corner of that car there. And this is like kind of a death pallet once it's down on the floor. But we're just going to be swinging through that on the side of Freya. Oh my god, and that's going to be a down, and that's going to be the second hook. No, the DS coming in as well. Oh my god, we're going to be able to make the window too. That's so unfortunate for Freya. We completely missed it. Went right under our noses. Going to be vaulting that window. Big one going for the chase of his life. Going to be playing the pallet outside of the gas pumps here over at the gas haven, and now playing the check spots very nicely. A little bit of micro fakes here is going to spell the mind game's not working for Freya at the moment. Vaulting in and out as well. I'm not too sure if there's any resilience involved here, but we're playing this really nicely. Are we going to be able to get the down? And we are. Okay. So, but at the cost of 2 generators in the background. Mighty unfortunate for our Blight player here, Halo.
Yeah, it does look like Freya got the first down a lot more earlier than Thomas, although he is going to be going for the anti-tunnel build, which is extremely unfortunate. It does look like the survivors have popped 2 generators, and they have some decent progress on Shack, as we just saw. And survivors actually, I mean, looks like they're playing quite aggressive for this pool here. Probably gonna possibly an early pull maybe comes out from the survivor here, considering that it's a pretty mid hook. I'm not exactly sure what the survivors may be doing in this situation, but we do see Shack popping, and maybe I couldn't see properly, but possibly maybe a top 3 gen could be playable here, as No Score is going to be able to avoid that hit there, hugging that shelf as tightly as I could, faking out the unhook right there, and we are finally going to be getting that unhook, and we aren't going to be trading. Actually, we're only going to be getting the hit onto No Score there. Unfortunately, Freya is going to be did hit Sable on hook, so this is really unfortunate for Freya. I mean, it's looking like Leopard will be able to most likely win this set, considering that Freya only has so much pressure compared to the survivors, who have lots of gem pressure. I believe he just lost his tunnel out, their tunnel out actually, and it's just really unfortunate. So it does look like Freya is going to be playing for their gens now, but it's a little bit confusing. It's very fast paced and kind of hard to keep up, but we do find Ace here, slash Thomas here at the Shack, going to be getting that Champions of Light value, and we do see the cake getting resetted in the background as well from getting hit earlier. So I don't know, this is looking pretty bad for Freya, if I'm being honest, Hunter. I mean, one of these last gens is also main, so that's going to be really hard to defend from not getting popped. And it does look like A1Q is going to be able to pop that 5 gen as well. So oh, we're already at the Tycon. It's not looking that great, Hunter, I cannot lie.
No, it's not. You're completely right in saying that, Halo. And everyone healthy, no one injured, generators in the background being committed. The spread is just absolutely unholdable at this point, especially with 4 survivors on the map. And we've just kind of fumbled the bag a little bit. You can definitely see just twice when there was pull commencing just in front of main. Just we weren't able to really tag the right survivor. We always ended up tagging and getting iframed. And well, we got iframed on the unhooked survivor, and then the second time, actually, I do believe that was the case as well, except it was a little bit more of an earlier tag. So we're going to take this one onto A1Q on the side of Freya, going for a nice little flick on the car, sorry, not a flare. But we're not going to be able to really get this down. I think someone's going to come in for a protection hit as well, if I do read that play correctly, or we're just going to stealth for maybe a flashlight save. But we've definitely seen our little cheeky ace there, Thomas, just hanging around with that flashlight. And that's going to allow A1Q to break all the way down into Shack, and that generator in the background is just going to proc any second now. And I think he actually could have made that mind game, but trying to dodge a firecracker, you know, and now Leopard are taking this set as well. The stats are coming in! You're crazy for that A1Q. I cannot lie, big fella. That's just crazy. He's just going to be vaulting the window and going to the corner as well, doing a little bit of shimmy jiggy and going for the whiff. But is Thomas going to be able to make this flashlight? That'd be absolutely crazy if he didn't. No, he's not going to risk it, but we're going to play for the absolute best possible result, I do believe. Unless we're just going to take our survivors out the door, we have decided to retreat all the way to the exit gate, and we're just going to try and get this next set on the way. I think B1 was the one there to say, no, we play for this, boys. You lock in, and we got this, all right? B1 being not... I think B1's Death Hook at the moment. And yes, B1 is Death Hook. It is a 3-stage as it stands with the A1Q on hook. So definitely Operation Save A1Q. And now B1 going to be going through the back of our Blight player here. Oh, the whiff again. No. Oh, that could have been really bad. Maybe trying to force Locker here. As soon as B1's hit, you know, Thomas has to go for that unhook, but you want to tag Thomas ideally in this situation, but he's not allowing it. He's playing really nicely. Operation Save the Bro from the basement. Getting the pull is Ivy, and Ivy will be down and dusted, unfortunately. And with all survivors injured at this point, I think maybe we can get an extra tag on one of the injured. Oh my God, we tried jiggying him. There's no way A1Q sat around basement thinking he was going to get that, man. He's just going to be going down now, and we've kind of given the killer a little more stages than what was really needed. But again, at least they tried. I can applaud them for that. They've already won the match, so, you know, it's not the worst thing in the... I think maybe we're going to go for a pickup on Ivy in the basement on the side of no score and go for the pull onto A1Q, our Claudette. So I think Freya might catch on to that as soon as A1Q's hooked, and I'm not even too sure if he makes his hook. That is very close. Okay, that was very close. My God. About 80% wiggled. So he definitely does still make that. Going for Ivy. He's going to try and do flare there just before the corner of Shack, and not quite working out in their favor. Going to be trying to down A1Q as soon as possible. I'm not too sure why we're rushing all the way to the exit gate. You definitely do make that, just following up behind. I think got a little bit scared there, but going to be taking this tag onto A1Q. That's going to be A1Q dead. So yeah, resulted in an extra 2 stages, I do believe. I mean, not the worst thing in the world. Got some resets happening, but in the end, A1Q dies. Ivy and no score will be out of the gate, and we will be moving on to the next set, which will be Doctor, which is a pick of Harden. So, no, all things considered, Harden did play well on the pick that wasn't theirs, which is the Blight. So hopefully we can see them come back in the Doctor set, pull it back to a 1-1 at the moment. So Thomas, A1Q and Upper X. So definitely, it's a different survival lineup from last match, except I think Too Slow and Upper X are replacing No Score and Ivy. So it's going to be really interesting, maybe wanting to play the Doctor set. So Ray spawning over here at this Shack side, going more towards the 12 side behind main as well. So we're just trying to see if we can find any stealth out. And we do seem to have a little bit of technical difficulties on the survivors end. So we'll be right back after a quick short intermission where we can find out what is wrong for you guys. Welcome back, everyone. There was a wrong offering, so there is a minus 0.52. I do believe, yeah, that is our killer Harden, unfortunately. So that's not a very good start on your pick. I can't lie. Missing half a stage, it's gonna eliminate the Tycon. Not really gonna do something too bad, but actually, oh wait, no, sorry, it was on the side of Leopard from what I'm seeing now. My apologies. I do okay, so it's not too bad. So it does still eliminate the Tycon, but it's in less favor of Leopard. Nevertheless, we'll be loading into this match. But spawning on the other side of the map now. Interesting. We're kicking the door to main, and we're gonna be rotating all the way down to that 3 to 4 side over where the shack is. And I do apologize if my callouts are completely wrong on this map. I do think I have them down, so I'll get them up as soon as possible. But I haven't really played too much of Cold Tower 2, although I do know it somewhat still plays like amongst the original Cold Tower, except main isn't as centralized and the map's kind of shaped a little bit more odd, but nevertheless, we are going to be taking the first chase onto A1Q. He's going to be rotating all the way down to the shack side of the map now, not utilizing the vault. He's going to be greeting that. He's not going to be able to make the pallet, so maybe rotating the long wall of shack. And yes, that is exactly what is happening. Going to the eye filler. We have a nice little eye filler. We're not going to be pre-dropping. We are pre-dropping this. That has cost us a little bit of distance and hasn't really delayed the tag. I think he was trying to play the mind game there and hoping for that he'd win the 50, but I just wouldn't have never have risked it. I think Ray had already kind of really picked up on what was happening there as A1Q had approached the tile, and now taking this shock onto this dropped pallet here is going to allow A1Q to just make distance a W away, and now we're just pre-dropping all these pallets and creating as much blockage as we possibly can, but we're getting a little bit mind gamed on the corner there, and this is going to spell the down. Unfortunately, that is a pretty bad misplay. I can't lie. No bodies to really kind of help in that regard. And we're tripling that first generator, which means there is no other generators on the map that have progress. And, for a Doctor game, this isn't really what you want on the starting side of the Survivors, Halo.
Yeah, unfortunately, maybe a little bit of mechanical errors from that Survivor there. Wraith is going to be rotating all the way to this, to the main building, sorry. And Jake Parker is going to be playing the check spots quite nicely and playing full distance. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that maybe it's on the earlier side of the... I personally think that they probably should have been able to extend that chase time just a little bit more. Maybe they could have popped another gen if they, they could have popped 2 gens before the first hook if they got a body in. But it does look like they are going to be getting this unhook here onto Ray. Oh, sorry, not onto Ray. What am I talking about? Onto the Claudette. And Ray, I do believe he is chasing the Claudette. Sorry, I do not have a video. And a very good vault, actually. Very well timed from Ray. Is going to be able to get that down. But no, we are going to be getting auto-aimed, actually. And we actually do see a head-on play also right there. Really unfortunate for Ray if he just didn't get... If he just didn't get auto-aimed, that would have been... really good actually for our killer player and getting you a really quick down, but no, very unfortunate. Possibly another hit take here coming in from the Ace Visconti, very well played. And A1Q is going to not be breaking off to the shack here, but is going to keep playing the eye filler, so is going to be getting zoned to this tile here. I'm not sure what the callouts are for this map, sorry Hunter, but we are going to be playing this window here, and it does look like we are just going to be going down, so I don't know if those hit takes were worth it, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe they were, but I'm not 100% sure because Claudette wasn't really able to last very long, considering that maybe she could have made a better tile or something like that, Hunter.
Yeah, so the orientation of the map from when I was doing the callouts was correct, but I was a little bit off in saying them, but nevertheless it will be the second hook onto A1Q operations, save A1Q coming in. I want to say not as effective as what we wanted on the side of the Survivors, but he is still alive, and we're going to be taking this tag on the 2 slow. That just really didn't need to happen, unfortunately. That is another Survivor injured on the board. We do see the healthy one rotating all the way for the unhook. Are we going to be able to make it in time without being shocked? You want to really hope that is the case. It does seem this is going to be happening, and just a smidge out of... Oh, no, he doesn't get it, and we all go single trade on the dock. It's not happening. We have failed the unhook, which means one of the injured survivors is going to have to come for the unhook, and we're just not going to allow that on the side of Ray. We're going to be trying to find any of... Oh, they're resetting over the top of main, and it's going to take a little bit of jiggy to get around that main to go actually go straight for that unhook. I think we just have to let him... I just think we have to let A1Q die here, Halo. That was just really unfortunate that we weren't able to get that unhook onto A1Q on the side of our Jake here, on the side of our Adam here, sorry, upper X just failing. Unfortunately, that's just really bad. You really needed that, but, you know, it's definitely still doable. These survivors just have to juice up in their chases, and with the RNG that they're given and with the amount of resources that have been used on the map, it's not really looking too likely that they're going to be able to really hold anything more than just like over a minute. So, you know, without a body block, and we're just trying to play around this 4 wars, but we're getting mind gamed in the process and playing the shocks really nicely. Is Ray going to be eating this tag on the side of our Adam? Going to be running all the way down to the 8 to 9 side of the map now. We do have some resources over in that vicinity. We still have this mid filler over in the middle, this nice little eye filler, which should serve us pretty well at some point in time in the match if we are able to really utilize it effectively. We do see the crouching Thomas over here in the corner of main, who's going to be playing that check spot and then vaulting very nicely, being able to scathe away from the hit, and we're going to be trying to divert and go for the Jake. No balance landing at our disposal. He's going to be running all the way on the out front of main, and he's just going to be eating this tag here, and he's going to be dropping this pallet, and just getting hit through that, Halo.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate taking that tag actually, because it's kind of zoned. It's kind of tough to tell where the survivors would be dying right now. Maybe in that little corner where there's no generators, but unfortunately I don't really know the call out. So very lucky actually. We are going to be breaking off and actually going to be winning that, making some distance over here to the TNLs. Winning that 50 is going to be too slow. Winning another 50 is that's actually really well played from our survivor side here, and making it all the way back to this pretty average tile for Doctor. Going to be dropping that pallet unfortunately, and Ray is going to be able to predict that. So unfortunately, we aren't really going to be dying in the generator. It's actually a pretty good death spot. And the survivor side, even though they did have quite an early death, they do have some pretty decent progress. We are going to be seeing pain res being used here, although there's probably a pretty good chance that these survivors could come back and maybe even possibly get out. I mean, we do see a pretty good pull coming out from Thomas. They're going to be setting up for it pretty early, and going to be seeing the chase here onto upper X on the bottom side of the map. So maybe we'll see a body block from Thomas here to make it all the way up, all the way to the top side of the map near main, to the left of main, possibly Hunter. But no, we are just going to be dying in the corner here, which is a little bit unfortunate considering that that generator next to Shaq is pretty high progressed, although it might be still regressing from pain res, which is fair enough.
Yeah, potentially. We do see Thomas kind of stealth around for the pull now, which kind of needs to happen. We need to get that early pull. But Thomas can't get tagged. There's no time for resets. They need to be cranking those generators with the 3v1 or 2 generators remaining. We do see a fair bit of progress in the background, but I didn't really catch a glimpse of what generators are being worked. There is a nice 2-2 split going on around this area. So you do have one at over at 3 side, one over more towards the 8 side of the map, and the other 2 hitting around 5 to 6. So 2 slow is going to be rotating around this window here. Remember, there's a lot just being used. And wait, hang on a second. The clean break coming in. Oh my god. Okay. Now he's on a full health state. This is completely doable. Doesn't need a body block to, you know, work with what's been dropped over at that side of the map. And now he's going to be rotating all to where the pallets are on the map. So this is completely doable. If we can get another hit for him, we can delay for another gen proc, and we could potentially pull this back. But Ray, noticing that the clean break taking into effect has really put him at a disadvantage, and he's gone all the way back down to these 2 generators over at the 5 and 6 side, which is the only ones on the map that are being worked. And we do have someone over in the corner here going for a head-on play, and we've read straight through it. The quick and quiet not serving us well. That just tells me that the scratch marks were just lining straight towards that locker halo, and like, sometimes it's really unfortunate. You really have to play that quite sneakily. And with the amount of distance that he was given, I don't think he was able to do so. Fast vaulting into that locker, maybe some scratch marks appearing on the wall, or just stopping perfectly at the locker, I can't lie.
Yeah, it does look like we have a generator near main that the Adam is trying to complete, and we are going to be able to know. We are going to be able to use our static blast there and know the position of both of our survivors here. Ray is going to be able to make sure that they're both actually doing nothing. This is actually really well played. He does see that Too Slow is rotating for the pull, and it doesn't seem like he really cares too much, although he is going to be going in quite late. I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to get this pull in time. Maybe the static blast is going to come into play, and if he can, oh my God, Hunter, this is this is looking really dire for the survivor side. This is probably going to be another down uh, near the hook, unless Upper X can rotate in time and get this unhooked. This is probably going to be really dire. No, it does look like we are going to be going even closer to the hook and dying right
Oh.
next to the hook, but does look like we Upper X is going to be playing for the respectable 4K1, popping this last generator, although maybe, just maybe Ray can static blast him off of it in time, and it does look like he will be able to. This is really unfortunate for the survivor side. Probably going to be a 4K2, unfortunately, Hunter. I'm not too sure if Unbreakable is in play, and Adam is going to be jigging all the way back to this pallet, not back to this pallet, but to this pallet, where he will be most likely just taking his last chase of the trial. And unfortunately, I mean, it's just the difference of like just hitting a great skill check, Hunter. It was 99. It was almost completed, and that's just probably going to be the 4K2, unfortunately. But not too bad considering, it could have easily been a 4K1, and they had to turn it out really, really early on.
I think what you have to really applaud in this scenario, Halo, is the fact of the add-ons. Twice you would have seen the extended range on the Doctor Shock, which is Electrode. So he's opted to bring a purple Carter's Notes and Electrode, which, some doctors like to bring double Carter's Notes, but these days I've been seeing a lot more Electrode and purple Carter's Notes. So I think the Carter's Notes are... I don't want to misinform anyone on the Carter's Notes, but I know Electrode makes his shock further and expected results. You won't really see a quote unquote good match unless the survivors perform absolutely out of their mind. So, taking that all into consideration, we are loading in just to reiterate the survivor lineup for anyone who was not able to hear it just before. It is the same as last set, same as last survivor set. So, Vinales, Dobby, Seven, Andarin all on the survivors. It is Nocturne on the killer. So this will be quite interesting on the side of Leopard. We know that Nocturne is an actual phenomenal doctor from last season, if you were keeping up to date with that. But can definitely expect something to be pulled out of the hat here. Maybe even the Tycon, maybe 4K1, 4K2 or something. But who knows? We're going to see our Doctor spawn on the 4 side of the map like we did the first time before the restart. We do have the minus penalty in hand as well, actually. So keep that in mind. The Tycon's going to... There's no Tycon. So if they 4K2 here, pretty sure that the survivors win if there's a 4K2. So it's even harder for the Doctor at the moment. You really need to get a 4K3, 4K4, 4K5 to actually take away this set. So let's try and see what's going to happen here. We do have this weak tile of... This is the week 4 wars pre-dropping. That is Finales. We're not going for a little bit of a shock in. If we peek the build, we do see the same add-ons being brought in, the Electrode and the Carter's Notes. My bad, my apologies. I did not get the informative info on the Carter's Notes. Maybe somebody in the chat can actually inform everybody what they do. But nevertheless, we have Corrupt Intervention, Pain Res, Eruption, and Call of Brine. So very gen-heavy perks, and sometimes this can be a little bit of a detriment in chase. Like, you don't really have anything to really aid you on the side of making things a little bit quicker when chasing survivors. So you're just really going to have to pray they're making errors and forcing the downs, and you can just start peppering them with all your gen perks. But I don't think that's going to be the case here, as we've already seen a very good chase, even though there was an early tag on the side of Finales, who's going to be dropping this God Filler. Now we're going to be rotating all the way into corner 5, and you can only imagine that one generator in the background is going to be procced. And yes, like clockwork, you hear in the background over more towards the main side of the map. We're going to be holding this check spot over at the L War in the corner. We are going to be doubling back as well on the side of our killer. We're going to go for a very good preemptive vault. We're winning that 50. That's absolutely crazy to absolutely send that by the man. Is there anybody here for a hit take? I don't think there will be. We're just going to opt to die in this corner, and that is a very good chase, all things considered. when you take into account what was dropped, I think there was only about 2 to 3 resources dropped, and then just dying corner trying to really extend the chase, just utilizing the windows of the LNT. So, you know, just comparing it to our last start, Halo, I do think that Harden's in the leading for taking this set. I cannot lie.
Yeah, that's a really good start for our survivor side here. That chase was going on for so long. We are going to be greeting that Shack pallet as well. Going to be forcing the M1. No sloppy butcher is in place, so that's fair enough. And yeah, I mean Harden is definitely just in a better spot in general right now. They did pop one gen, but they probably do have a decent amount of progress here. And it does look like our Doctor player is pretty much just full committing to this Jake here. At this TNLs here, gonna be shocking until he just gets that down. So we do see the pull onto David as well, but it doesn't look like Nocturne is going to care at all. Probably wanting his pain rise before another generator pops, which is fair enough. And it does look like I'm not too sure if we are going to be able to commit to a tunnel out here. I personally don't know how I would play if I was the Doctor in this situation. I mean, I would be playing. I mean, they're playing for a very hard win con, so that's fair enough. But I would personally want to tunnel. So maybe if our Doctor player here can go to the bottom side of the map and possibly find our tunnel out once again. Although they have already popped 2 gens and have some really good progress on that shack. So I don't know how this is going to go. This is probably going to be Harden's win, unfortunately, as we do also see a head on there. I believe that was our ace. Going to keep looping this shack tower here. David is going to be breaking off, and Ace is probably still going to be lingering around the shack there. So yeah, I mean, it's looking, it's just, yeah, I mean, our Doctor player here hasn't really gotten much pressure in the past 2 minutes, and so that probably means that our survivor side probably does have a decent amount of pressure. We do know that they have pressure on Shack, and most likely the other gens in the trial, so it's very unfortunate for our Doctor player here. First chase probably just, you know, lasted a bit too long. This chase lasted quite some time, and I really do like how this David is playing. Like I said, that I think against Doctor, you really just need to, keep your distance and you know, well, yeah, just keep your distance. And I think that David has really perfected that. Most likely has practiced, versing the Doctor specifically on this map. So that's always great to see.
Social distancing, they call it, Halo, and that is exactly what Vinalis has done, just running all the way into the corners, extending his chases, and yes, it has put the survivors in an absolute power position because, yeah, they pop one more generator and they take away the set, and that will be that. With the minus 0.5 that you'd seen last season, this set will now be going to our Doctor player here, so it is 1-1 as it stands. Leopard 1, Harden 1. Now, you know, what you have to remember, you know, you were asking the question of what do you do when after you've hooked that survivor and there was only like 2 stages and we had lost our tunnel out. You start slugging. That's the only other thing you can do as soon as that happens. But again, you're playing a risky game with how far spread the survivors are, and that's why it's very important to make sure that your survivor win con is on point. It's just it can really hurt you in the long run. And for what it's worth, Nocturne's still playing a really good game. It is still, you know, kind of stock standard what you see with the Doctor, especially in this region. We got another head-on as well over in Shack with a gen pop in the background. That is absolutely crazy. We're going to be playing the pellet and getting the stun as well on the side of our ace. You are absolutely crazy for that, Dobby. Slapping wood in the man's face unasked. That's absolutely insane. But we are not going to be chasing him. We're going to be opting to go to the survivor who's rotated all over the 5 side. I do believe that's our tunnel out Vinalis, who will be dead amongst the down. So going to be playing the L wall very nicely again, and he's just made work of this. And now we have another hit take as well. The generator popping in the background, and they have just played this absolutely crazy. Oh, they've really played their pick well. I cannot lie to you. Now, we're going to be taking the chase onto Dobby, who will be doing a little bit of jiggy amongst the hill as well, going in and out, in and out, in and out. Dude, these survivors have played so well. We have 2 inches now, 1 on the floor. I do think that we just take the outs here. I do believe there is a gate over here at 6 and maybe 1 at 9 if my eyesight served me correctly. And now we're going to be taking the final pick onto Finales. No flashlight in hand for any survivors. And yeah, they've just rotated all the way to the 9 side. They're going to be taking the 4 stage is what it seems to be. So everything went from good to decent to completely out of our reach. So that being said, we'll be moving on to the tiebreaker, which is Wraith on the tier 5 killers. So what we had previously seen in the Doctor set, can they bring forth to the Wraith set? Now, Wraith is the infamous 4K killer in the OCE region and the SEA NEA region too. So who knows? I mean, usually you'd expect outs from this kind of set, but we've decided to switch the map this season. I think the reason being is because of just the infamous 4K1 couldn't get away from it on Dead Dog Saloon. But we do see some scratch marks over at bottom 11. We have the God pallets to work with. No exhaustions at our disposal because of a tier 5 killer. We do see our David here. Finale's getting the stun in cloak, so that's going to be a very long stun on the side of our killer. Nocturne going to be breaking that pallet and going for a chase that's a little bit more in his favor at the moment. We don't really see anybody else kind of being put out of position, but as I say that, we do see scratch marks leading into bottom 4, which there will be our ace here, which is Dobby working this generator over at bottom 4 and playing the check spots really nicely, kind of doing a little bit of mind games to mind game the killer himself, playing the mind game at the pallet as well, dropping that with micro fakes, and we're just getting a little bit hesitant on the side of Nocturne. We're just kind of mind gaming ourselves and not quite getting in a position for this first tag to happen. And as I say that, Dobby's going to be taking that tag and running straight up the stairs over at bottom 5. Now, where's he going to run to? I do believe he's going to run top 4, which there we do find a pallet here, but there's no window up here, and we have ran into an active generator. We have spotted out our Ellen, who's going to be, I don't know, doing a little bit of run back into the killer tech. I'm not too sure what was happening there. Maybe trying to make the room over in top 4, sorry. We're going to be doing a little bit of ugly pathing. We've kind of lost a little bit of distance, and we're going to have to play these short fillers now in the top 2 region of the map, and these can be proved to be quite difficult for both sides, as it is a 50-50 pallet, and we are going to be taking that first down before the first generator pops, but we do have enough adequate gen pressure in the background to facilitate for what seems to be maybe some outs this time. I mean, we're looking at the score as it stands, and as it, you know, at the moment, at the very beginning of the match, and what everything's been, with how everything's been panning out, the first generator popping in the background over at bottom 3. Yeah, this is completely doable. I mean, you know, not really a bad start for us survivors here.
Yeah, it does look like Nocturne was able to get that hook onto Cat Reflex. We are going to see the trade coming in from the Jake Park, although we do also see we also glimpse the David here. It does look like Nocturne is going to be playing for his tags, which is fair enough, as he does have Sloppy Butcher, which will help him later in the match. We also do see quite an early pull coming out from our survivor side there. And it does look like Nocturne is going to be trailing these blood marks, although it does look like they are both running together, so possibly a hit. Oh, they aren't. It does look like we just see Alan by herself here, vaulting that gold window and making it all the way back to this good filler. A very cheeky swing coming out from Nocturne. He's not going to be able to connect. Cat Reflex gets the stun, and it does look like we are going to be playing the 50s, winning 2 50s, and wins another 50. Probably going to be able to make it all the way back to the gold window, but we aren't going to be breaking off. We're going to keep playing the 50s here on this very bad palette, and we are finally going to be going down after winning 3 50s or so. So not too bad of a chase coming out from Cat Reflex, although maybe she could have, or they could have looped back to that god window in order to try to make that chase just a little bit more longer than it could have been.
I'm liking what I'm seeing. They're playing through the ruin as well. Keep in mind it's still up. We do have Sloppy out of disposal, but only 1 injured survivor as it currently stands. Wretched Fate out of the trial, and we do have Corrupt Intervention obviously gone, being at the start of the match. So we have 2 stages on the board, so it's not the worst thing in the world for our killer, but like it can really go either way from here. It is quite infamous that the 3-2 and the 2-4 are usually what you see amongst these sets, where you are anticipating anywhere between 50% outs or 50% kill rate. So Nevertheless, we're going to be chasing our survivor here, 7, who will be pre-dropping this bottom 11 pallet. Now starting to really make use of these gold pallets, which you kind of have to do mid-game. You can do it at the start of the game as well, as you usually do per dredge set, but I think these guys have opted to go for a little bit more greed, as they do know this set, and we're just kind of whiffing through here on the side of Nocturne, not really able to connect these swings, and just going back to what we had seen up in that top region of the map, as we get a stun as well, and able to make incredible amounts of distance. We're going to be able to make bottom 1 as well. The table pallet. Are we going to play greedy? Are we going to pre-drop it? We're going to, we're being greedy. Well, we are pre-dropping it though. Okay. We're playing for a little bit of a stun, but getting mind gamed as a stun. And then now we're getting a protection hit as well, which is exactly what you need on the side of the survivors. But Sloppy coming into effect on Dobby might be troublesome to try and get him back to a full health state. But luckily we have 2 other survivors on the map who are not injured. We're going to be trying to play this mid. That's not how you play that filler pallet, unfortunately. I could have thought of so many different ways to be able to use that filler. I would have preferred that maybe our survivor just died on that pallet. I can't lie, but nevertheless, we'll be taking this second stage on. No, that's their death. Okay. Never mind, I didn't realize that they were tunnel out, but that is completely okay. So 3v1 at 2 generators remaining. This is looking like 4k1 territory on the side of Nocturne, playing this really good, even though, not able to quite really connect those swings. So there was an instance where it was on the top side of the map. I do believe it was this pallet where you did see him swing preemptively, and I do believe it is because we misjudged how the tile is laid out. If you have been keeping up to date with the changes on Midwich from last year, that this tile is changed incredibly. You can still spawn its old way, but there's 2 variations, and they can just really throw you off as a survivor. But nevertheless, be taking that quick tag onto our survivor there, David Vanales, who'll be running away after that, and now really starting to play amongst our Sloppy Butcher with Ruin still effect. This is where it's really going to come into play. You really can't get caught out on these generators, because as soon as you do, you're sloppy now, like you're injured. If you're on a generator and you need to pre-leave it because you're injured, Ruin's just going to take into effect, so you really need to get rid of this Ruin now. We're just going to be pre-dropping this pallet over in bottom 10 and getting the flashlight blind, but not quite being successful in the process, as the kick is taking a little too long for the blind to really take effect. And now we're going to be playing greedy amongst this really the worst pallet in the freaking game. I hate this pallet so much. There's like literally no use unless you have like tech as distance coming down from those stairs there. But yeah, we're just going to be seeing Dobby go down there, and now we're spotting out Rin, who, we know they're not resetting now. We can only assume that there's going to be maybe one more gen pop in the background if they are just committing it full send, but we do see that that is not the case. There's 2 slugs, and now back in cloak, and we're going back for this unhook. We might be able to even hear the David, and we have done so, and this will be the 4k2 secured as well. Just hopefully no bleed outs on the side of Leopard, and now we're going to be playing greedy on this pallet. I don't even think that we've really stayed here. Yeah, we've opted to leave. Even I kind of heard that he was going back downstairs to try and pull something out of the hat. Now going to go for the pickup, and the stun on the pallet not quite working out in his favor, so the pallet's still fucking rendered useless. I hate that damn pallet, but nevertheless, we're still going to be taking chase onto our ACR Dobby, who's going to be running all the way down to bottom 9, trying to play this short filler as well. Another really weak filler, and the RNG in this map is just not too great this time. I can't lie. Getting ping hit through the pallet as well. That is about 60 MS difference, unless they're both SEA, which there is no MS difference. They are both on 20 to 30 ping. Maybe ranging anywhere between 40 and 50, but you won't really see any more than that. Nevertheless, we're going to be taking that hook onto Dobby, taking the hook onto Rin, and that will be our survivors out of the game for a 4k2. So a very tall order for our killer over at Harden our killer at Leopard. No, Harden. So our killer at Harden to meet. Sorry, I do apologize. I was looking at the wrong statistic, but nevertheless, that will be all survivors on the hook as we finally hook Vanali. So Halo, what were your thoughts on this match? How could the survivors play better? How could the killers play better? What are you thinking?
Well, it just happened all so quickly, Hunt. Maybe survivors just didn't heal enough. There was a point in time where it was just a 3v1 and they were all injured. Maybe possibly they'll just play
really at the wazoo and doing Silent Bell, which might be revisited as well. Yeah, I just really want to see what they're going to bring into this match, not knowing the builds and whatnot, because it's really going to tie into whether they can make this 4k3 win con on the side of our killer here. Even on our survivor side, but there's not a lot to work with on the survivor side of perks when it goes to perks. I mean, you're not allowed exhaustions, you're not allowed healing perks, you're not allowed anything that's going to aid you in the match. like, you know, in a dire situation, something like Unbreakable or Deliverance as well, that can be really, or Decisive Strike, which can be really detrimental to a game. But loading in, we do see, I do believe that is Silent Bell. It is Silent Bell, and I do believe that this is Swift Hunt. So this is the build you need to do it. And you have Dragon's Grip, you have Sloppy Butcher, you have Eruption. This is completely doable for Freya. I'm wondering what's going to be happening. We make that vault over the pallet as well on the side of A1Q. That is absolutely crazy that he was able to get hit through that. Some good ping coming in there. We're going to be pre-dropping the pallet, trying to play around it on the side of Freya, and we're playing this really beautifully to delay this first tag nice and early. We're not going to have none of it. We're going to go back on Gen Patrol, which is really good to see. You really want to catch someone out of position here to get that quick tag, maybe get a quick down as well. We do see some scratch marks leading into the drop hole as well over at this bottom, this top 12 side, and leading into bottom 12, but we've seen to have lost eyes on the survivors, so maybe we've been debated just a little bit. We do see 2 survivors over at this bottom 10 tile, and he's just going to be rotating over into the room as well. Going to be dropping that straight on the Wraith's head. That is absolutely crazy, and now we're going to be playing the long side, and this is really dire. We're making the God Pallet as well. We have not gotten our first tag, and it is something like a minute to a minute 30 within this match, and at least if my calculations are correct, we're going to be keep on trying to chase around this top 10 area, sorry. My god, I do not know my mid-witch callouts, but we're going to be utilizing this god window effectively and running all the way down to the pallet side as well. We're going to be greeting that, and we're going to be rotating around it very nicely, pre-dropping it in the process. Are we going to be able to make that god pallet back downstairs? I don't think so. We don't really have enough distance. We're going to have to try and play check spots around here. This is definitely doable for our survivor. My god, he makes the god window again, and this is just extremely dire for Freya now. We're really struggling to really get these first downs, these first tags, and that's going to be a detriment. Look at the gen progress in the background as we see the place. Thomas accidentally running into the buckets on the floor. That is absolutely crazy. Somebody tell the fucking janitor to clean up his damn mess, but nevertheless, we're going to be pre-dropping the 8 pallet, but Freya's not going to be committing the chase. He's going to be going to top 12. We do see A1Q, who's been working this generator over at 12. We do manage to get the first tag of the game, which is very handy to have in our disposal, but now there are 2 tags. But there's so much gen pressure on the map now that it just makes it almost incredibly impossible to pull back for our killer here. We're looking at maybe even just smashing this win con. I can't lie, Halo.
Yeah, it looks like Freya's had a really unfortunate start. I mean, he's gotten 2 sloppy tags, but the gem pressure is just so crazy right now, and he just hasn't even gotten a single down yet. I really love how the have really optimized their use on that god window right there, and it does look like we finally see the first down of the match onto A1Q, but the survivors just have so much. They've popped 2 gens, and something about Ivy is on a generator, which is just about 75% to 80%, which is really unfortunate. And so I don't know Freya. I don't know how this is gonna go, Hunter. I mean, it's looking really dire for Freya, if I'm being completely honest.
I mean, this is what we were talking about when it comes to the top elite. I mean, you can already see this match is heading towards stages out the door. Like, they're playing around pallets so effectively. They're utilizing the god pallets nice and early, delaying the tags, getting enough gen pressure to kind of facilitate for that fact as well. It's just really, it's almost impossible to almost come back from this, but you never say never. You know, you can still pull it back to a 4K1 after some crucial mistakes. Maybe we get a hook in this 3 gen we have over at the right side of the map as it currently looks around that bottom 5 area. But nevertheless, going to be trying to take this chase back onto Ivy, pre-dropping that pallet in the process, not quite getting the stun, but playing it nicely to skate away untouched, as they say, and just trying to play that bottom 10. We're not just going to have any of it. Freya going back up the stairs as well to go back to the unhook, and we've already kind of W'd away from that. We do have both injured survivors trying to heal through the Sloppy Butcher, but Freya is on the sniff out for that reset happening, and you know, if they pop one more gen, they win. So at the moment, this is the Tycon for our killer, and with the way things are panning out at the moment, I personally don't see it. I could be proven wrong. But we're vaulting this pallet on the side of A1Q. Not really much to work with. I'm not too sure where we can go. We are faking this very nicely, playing checkbox, playing very patiently, and we've silently rotated to the long side of this loop. We do have the Godwin at our disposal and the hit take on the other side, and Thomas is ready for it. This is the difference as well, is that there are hit takes coming in. Everybody is injured, but again, the gen pressure is just so immense. I think the micro mistakes on the side of Freya have really hurt them in the long run, and now we're going to be pre-dropping that God pallet. So it renders, it renders whoever was in chase over at 5 not untouchable. So we're going to be opting to take this chase onto Thomas, who's going to this dropped God pallet over at 8. Trying to unzone himself, going at the top 8 section as well, playing the body blocks really nicely. The Silent Bell not coming in as well, and the Swift Hunt is going to allow us to make that pallet just before it's thrown on the side of Thomas, and we do see the eruption proc onto our survivor over at bottom 5, and we're kind of so we are playing a little bit more aggressive now, and I like to see this. Okay, so this is definitely doable. We have 3 injured survivors. The generators are very close to each other, so this can potentially go to another tiebreaker if Freya plays their cards right. This is the most progressed gen at the bottom here over at bottom 8. You kind of have to split pressure between bottom 8 and top 4, which is not an easy task. We do see the generator being worked in courtyard. My god, that is ballsy as damn. Okay, so we're not really gonna expect that on the side of our killer. We do see the pickup on Thomas in the background and the down onto A1Q, who I do believe is our second hook as it stands. So 2 stages on the board at the moment, 1 fresh, so it's not looking good for our killer. But when you take into consideration the scenario that they're given with how many resources have been used on the map and just how everybody is injured, it's just looking, it could go either way. I'm not going to say it's too heavily in the survivor's favor, although if I had to put my money on it, it'd be slightly more in the survivor's favor. And now the kick coming onto that generator in the courtyard, and we're going to be mind gaming that as well. We do have the pallet still up, slamming wood in the Wraith's face unasked. My god, say that 10 times fast. But we're going to be chasing too slow the Jake, but we're opting to leave and go for something a little more out of position. And Ivy seems to be caught in the generator. Maybe a late call in that regard, but not pre-leaving quite fast enough. And forcing locker pool means that maybe there is a generator that's close to popping that's not courtyard or not bottom 8. Not too sure. We do see Thomas over by the gate as well, and I have been debated. Other than maybe too slow, maybe miscomming how far his gen has progressed and saying that it was almost finished, but I don't think that was the case. Nevertheless, we're going to be going back on patrol, and where do we go from here, Halo? You're at a little bit of a stalemate. Who do you think has the upper hand?
I personally think that Freya in the past 1 minute has kind of fallen off. I feel like the survivors have kind of gripped back on their, kind of gotten a little bit of their pressure back, and they've also started the courtyard as well. So I would say that there's a pretty good. Oh my god! It's Dragon's.
Wait, no, it's okay. They get the jump hop. Sorry, I was cutting you off.
No, it's okay. Do they though? Oh, they do.
Yeah, they do. They do.
It's unfortunate. Yeah, it does look like too slow does go down with the Dragon's grip, but it doesn't really matter as I did kind of just double commit that generator. Ooh. Hunter, that was an interesting game.
No, definitely, 100%. I mean, in the end, just the Survivor team proving to be a little too strong, but now they're going to be trying to play for the best possible result, which is outs at this point. You do still have the 3 stages on the board. A hook over by this generator, that's the most progressed, and they're all still relatively close to each other. A1Q trying to press this generator over top 4, but, Freya can definitely hear that and rotate all the way over there, and these gens are a little bit more clustered. Definitely still can pull it back to a 4K1, which isn't a bad result, as opposed of Freya falling off, per se. In terms of win con, yes. In terms of match, no, because this is still definitely 4K1able, but with everybody injured and, sloppy and still in effect, and eruption being applied to these generators, you can definitely pull it back. It's just you really got to find your tunnel out here, which is A1Q, but we've opted to go for Ivy here. It is 4 stages. My apologies. I was reading the production wrong, but nevertheless, we'll be going up to the top side of the map once more of this top 4, and we do see 2 aura readings over there. So there is our Sable running away, and there is I do believe that was our Thomas Ace who was also running away alongside. No, it was A1Q. Okay, I'm lying to myself, but we're playing this palette. It was. Oh my god, he's flying. Okay, so the Wraith is flying. I thought A1Q was playing that palette perfectly, but nevertheless, that is going to be the smack bang down on the side of A1Q. That's going to be them out of the game, but we do get the generator in the background procced, unfortunately. This is the 4K0. I don't even know if we're going to be seeing the stages out the door, you know. Yeah, Ace just running into the corner. Actually, we have 2 survivors still up, alive, so our Sable rotating over to the bottom gate over at bottom 6 here. We do see 2 Slow, who's probably rotating all the way over to bottom 12. So trying to get this gate pop. I don't think they make it with the cloak speed of the Wraith. This is going to be very tight. Actually, no, they do make the gate now because we've not opted to really go straight to the gate. We've kind of like looked around, and as the uncloak happens, yes, that was extremely, extremely close. I feel like if we just W'd for the gate, then we just probably would have made that. I cannot lie to you. I think he was just anticipating the pickup, but that is a couple stages out the door. 2 Slow is fresh, so that will be a 9-stage game for what it's worth, which is still amongst the tournament average. And just shy of what you can really expect. I mean, you'd really pull it to 6 stages in the ideal world, 3 to 6, but yeah, just they still played extremely, extremely well for what it's worth.
Yeah, I reckon that Freya had a really unfortunate start, if I'm being honest, and I think that they really kind of they did really well considering, you know, they had a really